that us DC fans know.
Yeah.
In football, where do you utilize your best players?
Exactly.
In baseball, where do you utilize your best pitcher at this amount of time? Like in basketball, which starting five do you utilize? Do you take this person out, put this person in? It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
And it happens with Washington constantly, but it's the struggle that we just can't seem to break we can't seem to break the surface for some reason.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Washington teams because that brings me back to I'm gonna get back to the show in a minute, but the one thing I will say is the one Washington Wizard team that I love to watch was the team where we had Paul Pierce on that team and Nene and
when he hit that buzzer beater.
Yeah. Yep. Against the Hawks. Yep.
Gorgeous.
That was a playoff game right there.
That still sits in my mind.
Yeah.
Till this day.
Yeah.
Because I remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting with my father and we were really like, and if anybody knows these two people, we scream for our lives when
I screamed when he hit that one too. I was like, oh wow, that's a good one right there.
I was like, oh my god, like it was insane.
That was a good one.
How do you like just step up in a clutch moment like that?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
That was.
When he went to the Clippers though, I kind of felt like okay, I know he signed to play with us for 2 years. So what happened to the other contract that maybe he didn't want to be with us anymore? But the thing is, I'll say that was one of the best games, and also when John Wall hit the buzzer beater against the Celtics to force a Game 7.
Yeah.
In that season.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Yeah. Fact. I can't agree with you more. Yeah.
So my next question, how do you feel? Speaking of NBA, how do you feel about this year's NBA Finals so far? What do you?
The NBA Finals.
What do you take? What do you take out of this? Because for me, judging by what the game Butler had last night, I mean, they're doing this without Dragic and Adebayo. And listen, the thing is everybody know LeBron James when it clutch time. Sometimes he and when it's him and Anthony Davis, and I think this is the best Laker team we've had since Kobe and Shaq was on the team. And the thing about this is nobody knows what can be with this finals, because now that the Heat has won one game, they have energy now. And once the Heat have won one game, I like last night I was saying, listen, Lakers, y'all had a chance to go up 2-0 or 3-0. Y'all had a chance to go up 3-0, and y'all didn't do it. Y'all didn't do it. Y'all, come on, this was just. I feel as though the Lakers lost a huge step last night, but it's just one game. So how do you feel about this?
I feel as okay. So all right. There's so much going on with these finals, and there's so much going into this finals, especially for the Lakers, because obviously we know what happened earlier this year in January. That was maybe the worst day of all of our lives, because that's a hero. That's a hero. Period. Point blank. Whatever team you root for, it doesn't matter. He was a hero. You know?
Yeah, he was. He was.
And he brought that city 5 titles.
Yep.
5. The only person that I know that really brought one city that many titles is obviously the great Bill Russell, who brought Boston 11.
That's right. That's right.
Ridiculous. It's crazy, too crazy. Like, he has too many rings for his own finger. But Now with the Heat, it's just struggling to watch because half of their prime, as in their prime roster, or like the prime people that they use, are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at a conflicting stage. I'm just like, you know what? Who's going to show up and who's going to show out throughout all of the emotion? I know that, this whole season has been absolutely weird. They've had to play in the wobble and all that stuff. And go through all this stuff with racial injustice, like literally they did not play because of the world outside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then now when you have this big stage to really deliver and show what this whole year has culminated to, the Heat lose people to injury. I know the Lakers have something. It's like just the moment they need to present is now.
Yeah.
And that's for any team that's for either team that wants to step up, really. And this is a hard one for me to pick up. I was going to pick the Lakers because I was like, you know what, it'll be great, for Kobe and Gianna to watch from above, to see, the team that Kobe so loved, bring home another gold one. But the Heat, though, like, it's funny, LeBron played for the Heat.
Yes,
and
he did.
brought them gold. Like, let's not all forget that,
Exactly.
Like, so there's so much between these two. I can't even pick a side. I've had people ask me all week, pick a side. I'm like, I can't. They're just too good. Like, there's just too much each side has that it balances itself out. So, to each his own. But, whoever wins, just amazing. That's all.
Yeah, like you said, going by your point with the Miami Heat teams and the Warriors teams from old, that Heat team had Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh. You had a whole entire Heat team that was really good. Ray Allen was on that team.
Ray Allen, I was just gonna bring up that name because he hit that amazing shot where literally they passed it to him. He barely stepped over the 3-point line and
he did.
And then get off his head. That does not happen. So that's why there's so much riding on this,
Yeah.
The Heat in the past few years have retired maybe 4 jerseys in like the last 2 years. With that being Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, I know somebody else of that nature. And then LA acquiring one of the greatest players in basketball in this day and time right now.
That's right.
In LeBron James.
That's right.
So I still can't even put a crossroads at it. That's the same thing with me, like the WNBA finals. I can't even. I know I'm taking Vegas, but I can't even put it. There's just too much. There's so much riding on both sides, and it's hard.
It's so much riding on it. And you think about how many times, I will say there's one name on the Lakers who I feel shouldn't be playing for the Lakers, and that's Dwight Howard, because we had Dwight Howard for like a year in Washington, and I feel like the Wizards clearly did not get a good player for Dwight Howard. They got They got CJ Miles, who been playing the NBA for years, and for him to get hurt in training camp, I feel as though the Wizards they too kind of let players leave, kind of let players walk. Because I know Dwight Howard, he was our best player, even though he was injured that year we got him. but that's because he was dealing with back soreness. But from what I heard, that had they kept Howard, I heard that he was going to be able to play for the Wizards this past year, and he actually could have helped the Wizards get to the playoffs this year. But with that whole COVID thing, and I'm telling you, had Dwight Howard stayed on the Wizards, that could have been a huge possibility that he could have helped us win, because we were missing a lot of our players in that bubble this year. Some players they just picked up off the street. It's like, who is this guy? Like, I mean, I know Ish Smith was one of the guys we had before the pandemic started. I know we had Shabazz Napier. I know we had those two point guards. I know we had not but Mo Wagner and Rui Hachimura. I know we had those guys, but the other guys, like, and Thomas Robinson, I know him, and the other guys we just didn't know. But I felt like every game we played in Orlando, we were actually in every game we played in those last 8 games. We were in every game, even down to the Phoenix Sun game when they restarted in August. And I was saying then, I was like, y'all ain't got Bradley Beal or Davis Bertans or John Wall. I don't think y'all going to the playoffs. But when I saw them only win 1 game, I was like, geez. And they beat the Celtics, but they weren't playing the Celtics. They were playing like the rookie Celtics.
Right.
And that's how they won. And I was like, man, y'all telling me y'all not going – because I feel like they let a couple of games get out of reach. Like, they could have beat the Sixers. They could have beat the Pacers. They could have even beat the Suns when they came back and played. They could have even beat the Pelicans. Like, they could have beat everybody in that bubble and still made the playoffs. But other things happened and injuries to John Wall. But I'm hearing now that John Wall is going to be back and he's going to be better than ever. So we'll just have to wait and see, what's going to happen. I can tell you a player that I really don't want to come back, because I know I know he's good, but I think that he should just Jan Mahimi. I don't think he should come back because he's just
okay. With Jan, my thing is that and for us in DC, we've been great to have great guards, honestly. Also, I had to speak on this for just a second. Side note, Bradley Beal finally getting the credit he deserves for actually being the good player that he is.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, that really, him not making All-Star. When he didn't make All-Star contention, I know all of us just looked at each other like, what do we do right now? So, but with Jan Mahimi, he had you brought up a good point with him, maybe not coming back, but there's in each play there's something for each person to offer. However, we haven't seen him deliver it yet.
No, we haven't.
It hasn't been delivered. Like, whatever he has to offer this team, it has not been delivered yet.
You're right. And that's with now I don't know the reason for Marcin Gortat and John Wall not seeing eye to eye on some plays on the Wizards, but I feel like Marcin Gortat, he played good in the regular season. Like, he was all that. But in the playoffs, Marcin Gortat, I mean, some games he had it and some games he didn't. And John Wall, he was very upset because, listen, if I'm bringing this center in and he's going to be my superstar center, I'm expecting him to dunk. I'm expecting him to go hard in the paint. Some playoff games, Gortat didn't even do that.
Right. And
so I'm like, okay, what do we –
That's where I'm like, with centers, we haven't been that lucky. And that's what I'm feeling like we are just, that's what I'm missing, honestly.